G'day Wolfpack, we're back here with another video today. We have FOMC coming in hot in roughly 12 hours by the time this video gets out, and we have a big pattern that everyone needs to look at. It's a short video, it's a sharp video, but it's going to give you everything you need to know before FOMC, and that is why it is short and sharp, so all of you can be perfectly informed. Let's get straight into it. The current structure for Bitcoin is as follows. We've moved up quite a lot in the past couple of weeks. In fact, probably just the past 10 days. We've broken the RSI downtrending line on the 3-day chart. We've broken out of a downtrending dotted line here, stemming from May on the price chart. We've had a bit of a move to the upside, but we're getting rejected quite heavily at the local resistance zone, which is stemming from around 20.4K, 20.2K to around 20.8K, with the main part of that zone being 20.8K. Looked at this extensively in the past. I based a buying plan off of it. 20.8K, in my opinion, on the daily chart is incredibly important for Bitcoin, and I don't see how we can have any kind of bullish structure without a clear break of 20.8K at all. I think right now we're still in a very bearish structure, and my buying plan reflects that. These are the three scenarios in my buying plan that go over the three separate price actions that could happen on Bitcoin. The bottom scenario is the one everyone's watching right now, and if we break 20.8K on a daily candle after FOMC, that would be very interesting. Now I want to talk about a few things though, because it's not just FOMC that's coming up shortly. We've also got a few things. We've got the US election on the 8th of November, and we've got CPI on the 10th of November. So we've got FOMC today, US election on the 8th, and CPI on the 10th. That's all in 1 week, basically. That's a massive week for Bitcoin, massive week for all of the markets. And it's interesting because all the markets are in the same place right now. Look at Bitcoin, what is it doing? Okay, it's rejecting from the bull market support band after a short move to the upside. Look at the S&P 500, same thing. Rejecting from the bull market support band after a short move, after a move to the upside, right? All the markets are kind of reflecting the same thing right now. They're doing exactly the same thing. They're setting up in the same way. And while they do that, and the fact that they do that, the fact that they're moving in the same way, means that the result of these events coming in the next week will likely trigger the same directional move on all of these markets. The same move on Bitcoin, the same move on the S&P. So what is that directional move going to mean? What does the short term look like? Well, I'll answer the second question first. The short term is this. Bearish divergence, right? Stochastic RSI is topped out. Volume doesn't look good. We're seeing descending volume in this pattern. But ultimately, the main thing is this that you need to draw up. We've got a triangle formation on Bitcoin. This triangle formation reaches an apex around the same time CPI, around the same time FOMC decision is being held. Meaning, this triangle is set up just below 20.8K, which is the major resistance zone that we need to close a daily candle above. We've been rejecting from it heavily. Now we've got a triangle formation going into FOMC, the break of which will be determined by the FOMC's result, right? We need to watch this, guys, right? This triangle is very important. You need to watch this. I spoke about this yesterday. 19.6K, this red line here, is a very critical level, right? And if we do break this triangle to the downside, you could enter a short position on the break to the downside, and you can take that trade to 19.6K, which is the 2017 all-time high, which will act as support. That would be a prime short trade. Now, if we break it to the upside, I'd be a little bit more skeptical because I would think that would be a fake out. And the reason why is because we need to actually close, I think it'll be likely to be a fake out, because we need to close a daily candle close above 20.8K in order for a confirmation of that move. So I wouldn't be trusting that. We've seen breaks above it in the past, all of which were fake outs, as you can see I'm circling there. So that downside position, that would be a good short scenario. But I mean, the main question is this: what would constitute a downwards break? What would build up to a downwards break? What would build up to an upwards break? Well, I'll tell you right now, it's based on FOMC, right? FOMC, right now, the column on the right is indicative of what a 75 basis point probability looks like, right? 75 basis point hike, currently we're at an 83% chance of a 75 basis point hike. We're at a 16% chance of a 50 basis point hike, right? What does this mean? This means that the market, as of right now, is expecting a 75 basis point hike. And hence, the recent move over the past 2 weeks has been a preparation for a 75 basis point hike, has been kind of pricing in a 75 basis point hike. So what happens now? What happens is this, and this is based on historical data. Okay, I'm not going to go back and fact check it for the sake of keeping this video sharp, but I've done it in the past. I've done it multiple times. You guys can go do it yourself, right? If we do see a 75 basis point hike, it is highly likely, right? In fact, it is basically certain to this, at this point, relying on historical data, it's not certain, but it's very likely. If we see 75 basis point hike as expected, we will reject off of 20.8K because that is what the TA suggests we do. It is only if we see a 50 basis point hike or lower, right, that we break through 20.8k. If we see that 50 basis point hike, which the market is saying we have a 16% chance of doing, that's when we break to the upside. That's when we break 20.8k. That's when our buying plan triggers, and that's when we buy Bitcoin in the breakout. However, it is highly likely that we reject here, as we will see 75 basis point hike. It is highly likely the S&P 500 continues down, and it is highly likely Bitcoin goes down again for a swoop of the lows and possibly a Q4 bottom, as per our original prediction on Bitcoin. I'm expecting a Q4 bottom on Bitcoin. I don't think the bottom's in, and the data at this point in time does support that claim. The data supports the fact that the bottom is not in. The data supports the fact that we will reject from 20.8k here, and the data does not support the fact. The data does not support the scenario in which we break to the upside here. It will be unlikely that that happens. Again, if we see a 50 basis point hike, it could happen. That's the only scenario, and that is a 16% chance according to the market. So we're watching FOMC. If we scroll up here, we can see that's in 14 hours from the time this video releases, probably 13 hours by the time this video actually gets out and you're watching it right, as of current, 13 hours-ish, right? Watch the number. If it's 75, that's going to lead to rejection. If it's 50, that could very well lead to a bounce. That's the critical stuff you need to know for Bitcoin. Go to the hourly chart, draw up that triangle, draw up 20.8k on the daily chart. You need to know what happens here. This is very, very important. Alright guys, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next video. Please watch these advertisements before you click off, it really helps out the channel. I want to briefly interrupt this video to talk about the BitGet exchange. Now, the BitGet exchange has 5 times lower fees than Binance, which is commonly referred to as the cheapest exchange in the cryptocurrency market. It's also non-KYC or voluntarily KYC, so you can stay true to the fundamental values of cryptocurrency, one of which being anonymity, of course. It's also got a security fund in there, so if you lose your funds by fault of the exchange or by personal fault, you can make a claim and actually retrieve your funds back. On top of all of this, if you sign up using my referral link, you can get access to exclusive discounts and rewards. This is the best exchange on the cryptocurrency market, and I use it personally, and so should everyone at the Wolves of Crypto YouTube channel. Now, if you're interested in actually learning how to trade for yourself, you can check out the Crypto Academy via the website link in the description below. This is a course developed by myself and Megaworld Crypto, a 10-unit course taking you through every single step from step 1 to step infinite about how to become a trader. Go ahead and check that out and chuck us an email at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you with the full information and payment information if you're interested. Thanks guys for watching the advertisements. Let's get back into the video.